Well, with us this morning to review the Sunday papers is the broadcaster and writer Gemma Forte and entrepreneur Kate Hardcastle. Hello, ladies. Morning. Thanks for coming back with us. Well, let's jump right in. Gemma, you have picked this story, and it's the front page, and we touched on this the last hour, didn't we, about Rishi Sunak's allies rallying around, and in this article, Boris Johnson is being called just an ex-MP.
I think, yes, this story is showing that the Tory party are trying to control the narrative. Obviously, it's been a scandal here, and the whole focus has been back onto Johnson in these last few weeks, what with the inquiry and so on, and his resignation, etc. Not helped, of course, now by this new video that has emerged, and I suspect there'll be more bits and pieces emerging as the weeks go by. However, I do think there's truth in this, that as much as some parts of the media like to speak of Johnson as if he's this big threat, I think he's reached the end of the road. The people who seem to be really vocal in supporting him were all sort of up for honours and so on, but I think there's the large majority of the Tory party are absolutely sick to the back teeth with it. He's gone off to be a columnist for the Daily Mail, which was the last thing that he did, where he broke a rule because he was supposed to check that was all right before he did so, but he didn't. So, and he has been saying to his little band of supporters, you know, don't vote against the recommendations of the Privileges Committee. Well, it's like, well, no, they probably weren't going to, and if they did, it wouldn't make any difference. So, you know, it remains to be seen what will happen, whether Johnson will try and form a new party or something. But yeah, Sunak's trying to take back control, ironically.
Yeah, the ghost of Boris Johnson, I'm sure, will reign over Rishi Sunak for some time to come. And then, Kate, on Tuesday, we saw the devastating news coming out of Nottingham of the violent and tragic attacks that we saw in the city, 3 people dying. And the Express here, I thought it was remarkable that the family, in such grief, were able to say, you know, look, don't use this as a weapon.
It's a story that really gives you the feeling of a community coming together despite the atrocity, the awful news that hit us all last week, that this disgusting attack had happened on individuals with so much to give, and there is a defiance coming through from the community of Nottingham. This article's interviewed many people within those who've attended various ceremonies and paid their respect, just to say that it's not going to hold them back from being in the city, not going to hold them back from attending the places they love or going about their regular businesses. And whilst there's incredible anger and much sadness, they're defiant. It's not going to ruin their community, and just much more in here to read about those tremendous individuals that are no longer with us. So yeah, very, very much taken by this article this morning.
Yeah, here. Gemma, shall we move on? Because we're going to go back to Rishi Sunak now, and this is in The Sun, because it's a headline that, well, Liz Truss is back on the scene again. She's got a few things to say, and it's adding to that headache for Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister.
Yeah, and after the story that Kate just touched on there puts all this rubbish into perspective, doesn't it? And this is just another ex-Prime Minister being a pest, basically, in a nutshell. Rishi Sunak is trying to broker a deal. It's a global deal, part of one by the Organisation for Economic Cooperation, and they're trying to make sure that corporation tax can never fall below 15%. Liz Truss and Priti Patel want to table a motion and try and stop this. So yeah, just literally the party is so fractured with attacks on Rishi Sunak coming from all sides with whatever he wants to do.
And here we are discussing that, and not the the cost of living crisis, energy bills, but there you go, that's the papers for you. Kate, talk to me about this story in the Mirror, because it's a campaign being launched about sign language and giving parents the tools to really to use it, because it's quite significant. Even if you're sort of teaching your kids to talk really from a young age, it's quite significant.
You don't have to dig too deep to find a good news story this morning, and I'm really pleased to be bringing this one to attention. It's a call from the actress Rose Ayling-Ellis, who is, as we know, a great campaigner. We've seen her on Strictly, and she is there as an actress who is campaigning for more awareness, more use of BSL, British Sign Language. 11 million people in the UK deaf and hard of hearing. And I think this is a campaign that's absolutely worth its merit. It's basically explaining that on the NHS you can receive things like hearing aids, etc. But British Sign Language and the teaching of it is not something offered through the NHS currently. Now, of course, we know the NHS is struggling at the seams and there would need to be funding for this, but what an important tool for families to have. My own husband was taught BSL because of a family member who was concerned over her hearing, and it progressed, and he's now teaching my children and I'm the worst student, but I know this means brilliant. So I think this idea is brilliant.
It is absolutely brilliant. Look, we've got this story in the Daily Star now, Gemma. I'm going to just hand it over to you.
I know, is it even a story? It's like the front page, and it's a woman who's had regression therapy, and apparently she completely forgot that she'd been abducted by aliens. So it's all come flooding back. Wow. So if you can't bear the state of British politics, buy the Daily Star.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to go really on that one, because, we've got a whole broad spectrum of stories. But here we are, Kate. Someone's forgot they've been abducted by aliens.
But I haven't forgotten it's Father's Day, and that's the one we should be celebrating. So a very happy Father's Day, whether you are on this earth or indeed
Yeah, absolutely. I'd just like to shout out to my husband, who's looking after the kids right now and enables me to be here to talk to you wonderful ladies. So thank you so much, Gemma and Kate, for your company this morning. It's been brilliant. Thank you. Well, still to come on, there you are, still to come on Sky News Breakfast. We'll have much more over the row over Partygate. That's continuing after a newly obtained video from the Daily Mirror showing Conservatives partying during the COVID lockdown. We'll have all the reaction after the break. Stay with Sky News.